Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the channel. Today's video is going to be my weekly watches. 11 watched this week, so quite a bit more than last week now that the weather's cooled down quite significantly. Very mixed bag here. Some I wouldn't say I didn't get on with, they just didn't click with me, and I think I need to give them another watch at some point to really judge whether or not I enjoy them or not. But there's quite a few that I did really enjoy as well in here this week, so yeah, but we'll go through them anyway. Apologies for the glare. I would try and get rid of it, but you can see there's like a glare there across my face. But there's usually I turn the light off and open the curtains, but it's pretty miserable today. It's pouring down with rain outside at the moment. So, I mean, to open the... Oh, I suppose I could open them. I mean, at least there's still some sunlight then. And the glare's a bit better now. But yeah, not very nice weather today, but I prefer it to the extreme heat we had last weekend. Anyway, let's get on with the first one, which was Henry Fonda in John Ford's The Grapes of Wrath. Now, this was one that I watched last Sunday afternoon, and I will be honest, the heat was still pretty intense at this point, so I wasn't really paying much attention, concentrated on this one as much as I probably should. The parts I did see, I thought Henry Fonda was brilliant in it. There's another guy, John Carradine, I thought he was brilliant in it, who is David and Keith Carradine's father. And yeah, so one of the what I would call a classic film, but it's one that I couldn't fully engage with, so for that reason I didn't really get on with it. I was very much in and out of concentration. I don't think for me there's much point trying to watch a film when it's that hot, because unless it's something that I don't really need to concentrate on that I've seen before, because with this you really need to pay attention to it to really appreciate it, I think. And for me, it just didn't click on this first watch. But like I said, definitely willing to give it a go again. And for those unfamiliar, it's basically about a family set during like the Depression in Oklahoma who decides to up stakes and move to California in the hopes for a better life. Once they get there, they get into this like camp where they get work given to them, but they're not treated in the way that they should be. The living conditions are horrible, and it's just about them trying to give each other hope and fight for what they deserve. It is really terrible out there. Apologies if you can hear that rain. It is awful out there this morning. But yeah, that was my first watch of the week, The Grapes of Wrath. Next up, it cooled down quite a bit by the time I put this film on. And it's a new release. I know Tim's seen this one and he said it was pretty good. And I picked it up when I was out with Tim last time. And chucked it on because it was an hour and a half. And that is Last Breath. You've got Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu, and Finn Cole. It's based on a true story. It's like a drama thriller, I would say. It says action thriller on the back, but I don't know if I'd go that far. It's based on the true story of diver Chris Lemons, who is basically what they call a commercial diver who goes in and like fix pipes that provide oil and stuff like that. And he's on this routine mission of fixing this pipe in in what they call like a trench at the bottom of the North Sea. And his team members are Woody Harrelson and Simu Liu's character. And basically a freak accident happens and he gets trapped at the bottom of the sea with only 10 minutes of oxygen left, and it's sort of this impossible story of how they try and rescue him, and that's all I'll say. If you like your disaster type films, I really recommend this one a lot. For the most part, it's kind of set in real time. Yeah, that is really loud. Bear with me a second, I'm going to shut the window because that is really loud in my ear. There we go, much better. So yeah, Last Breath. If you, like I say, if you like disaster, survival kind of films, I'd recommend this. Not only because it's like a short watch, but it does keep you hooked. it's a good film. I'll watch anything with Woody Harrelson in as well. I think the rest of the cast was really good as well. So yeah, that is Last Breath. Then next up, I watched, throwing them around, I watched a film called 10 Items or Less, which stars Morgan Freeman and Paz Vega. Now in this, basically, Morgan Freeman's sort of playing a version of himself. His character doesn't really have a name, but he's this Hollywood icon that kind of hasn't done anything for years, and he's trying to get a comeback. And he's basically forced to kind of consider taking a part in this really low budget film. So he decides to go out and research the role, and the role is basically playing in, like I think he's like a clerk in like a big supermarket. So whilst he's there, he basically gets abandoned by his driver, played by Jonah Hill, and he's got no money on him, he's not got a mobile phone on him, and he doesn't know where he is. So he kind of befriends this girl who's one of the cashiers, who's got a bit of attitude, and they kind of, like I said, they befriend each other. She kind of helps him out, he helps her out with her life as well a bit, and it's just about them, their friendship, him trying to get back home because she promises that she'll get him back home. And yeah, that's it really. It's definitely an indie film. There's not much going for it. It's very minimal story with interesting characters, but it's not anything that wows you, I would say. I enjoyed it for the most part. Is it one I'd go back to very often, if at all? Possibly. Considering it was only 78 minutes as well, it flew by. But yeah, it was okay. Average watch, 10 items or less. Then the last film I watched last Sunday was She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. I thought I'd give John Ford another go, as I didn't really get on with The Grapes of Wrath. So I chucked this one on. She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, as I say, directed by John Ford, starring John Wayne. I'll just read you the back for this one because it's easier, and then I'll tell you how I thought. So basically, General Custer's just been slaughtered, and 10,000 Indians from different tribes are on the warpath. And it follows Captain Nathan Brittles, played by John Wayne, who has 6 days left before he's due to retire from his undermanned US cavalry outpost. His last patrol is to escort the commander's wife and her niece to the stagecoach stop at Sudrow's Wells. And this is the second in what Ford called his cavalry trilogy. Roy did tell me the others. Is it Rio Bravo and is it Fort Apache? Is that the other two? I think. Yeah, much enjoyed this one a lot more than The Great Wrath. Obviously, two very different films, but if you're going up like John Ford, then yeah, I did enjoy this one more. I do love a good Western. I've not seen anything with John Wayne in that I've not liked so far. And yeah, it was just a really entertaining Western. Again, not too long, just over an hour and a half, so easy watch for a Sunday evening. Yeah, would recommend this one. She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. And then we have my watch pile pick of the week, which was Predators, which I've already spoken about in length in the watch pile episode. So if you want to know my full thoughts on Predators, go back and check that video out from Wednesday. But yeah, I really enjoyed Predators. Thought it was a really entertaining Predator film. I didn't say it in my video, but Roy said it in the chat afterwards, and I kind of thought, yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I like it more than the original, which is, I know, quite controversial because the original is such a classic. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the original. I like all three of these films. In fact, I'm a defender of The Predator. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I quite enjoyed that one. That was the first Predator film I'd actually seen, and I did quite enjoy it, but I can understand why people wouldn't enjoy it. I do think my favourite's Predator 2 out of these three, and then I'd go Predators and then Predator. But Predators, a lot of fun. Basically, I've already explained what it's about in my watch pile episode, so I won't go on anymore, but I think there's some pretty good kills, some interesting characters in there as well. And again, it's not that long, flies by at 102 minutes, so just over an hour and 40, easy watch. Yeah, quite enjoyed it, Predators. Then we have what I am going to say is my absolute highlight recommendation of the week. If you've not seen this film, do yourselves a favour, pick this up in the Arrow sale like I've done before it finishes, I think on the 30th or the 31st. Just do yourselves a favour, grab this, because you won't regret it. It is one of the best watches I've seen this year. Such an original, great film, and it's called The Last Stop in Yuma County. Really, do yourselves a favour, go into this blind like I did. I'd heard brilliant things about it from last year, but nobody in the community had really seemed to watch it. I'd asked around, nobody had really heard of it, not even Jim, who obviously being my American friend, I would have thought he would have heard of it, because I don't think it really came out here, but it had a bit of a buzz in America about this time last year, but Jim hadn't even heard of it. I'll give you a brief synopsis, but again, like I said, it's one of those that I would go into blind. It's a homage to like your 70s American crime thrillers, and it is set in the 70s, and it's got this brilliant twist. It has just such a great film. It just flips the whole film on its head, and I love when a film does that. It's set at this truck stop, so you got your diner, you got like a filling station, and it starts with this travelling knife salesman who gets to this filling station to fill up, and they're out of gas. They're waiting for the tanker to come along to replenish the gas supply. So whilst he's waiting, he goes into the diner next door. And then obviously you get more characters popping in as the story goes along, because they're also waiting for the gas truck to come to fill up their cars, because the next gas place to stop is like 100 miles, so they wouldn't make it. They then get interrupted by these two individuals who are a bit sketchy, bit you know there's something off about them, and there's something that's happened which I won't go into in the background, which is kind of the push of this story. But the tension in this film is absolutely incredible. I'll say a hostage situation sort of ensues, but it happens very quickly, and I was like, it really impressed me the way they took this film. And again, it's not a very long film, it's an hour and a half. It's a very tight film, very fast paced, very tense. Absolutely loved this. It's got Jim Cummings in, and I thought it was the Jim Cummings, the Winnie the Pooh Jim Cummings. It's not, it's a different Jim Cummings, who's basically, I would say, the lead. Richard Brake, who's a great character actor, that he's popped up in a lot of things. I mean, on the back it says Barbarian, he was in. I couldn't tell you what I've seen him in before, but he's one of those actors that you know him when you pop up, you know his face, but you may not necessarily know his name. Barbara Crampton, who apparently was in Reanimator, which I haven't seen. Jocelyn Donahue, who was in The House of the Devil. And yeah, loaded with special features, as most of these Arrow releases are. And I've shown it off in my Arrow unboxing. You get quite a bit of stuff in here. I think you get some art cards, poster, nice booklet as well. Yeah, I think I paid, it was less than £15, I think, just under £15. And it's a fairly new Arrow release, but I absolutely loved it. And I'm sorry I've waffled on quite a bit talking about this one, but do yourselves a favour, grab yourselves a copy of this whilst it's still in the Arrow sale. It's a must watch in my opinion. If you're a fan of film, if you like your 70s films. Roy, I know you don't tend to get new releases, Roy, but if I was to recommend anything, and I know we have a bit of differing opinions, but if I was to recommend absolutely anything to you, do this. I know you love your 70s films. You won't be disappointed with this. Spend the £15 on it, like in the sale before it goes back up, and watch it, because it's just excellent filmmaking. Last Stop in Yuma County. And then next up we have Wild Things, another pickup from the Arrow sale, one that I'd only ever heard brilliant things about, with a fantastic cast. Got Matt Dillon, Kevin Bacon, Denise Richards, Nev Campbell, And I didn't even recognise her to start with. I had to look it up. I was like, wow, is that really her? Teresa Russell, who was in one of my another favourite first time watch this year, Straight Time. She's in this. She plays the mother of Denise Richards' character. Obviously a bit older, but she's still absolutely stunning in this. Robert Wagner's in this as well, who kind of plays a lawyer that's a bit likes to pay people off, I suppose, bit not by the books, I suppose. And Bill Murray as well, who's like this sketchy lawyer that's defending Matt Dillon's character. It's great. It's a very, I suppose sexy is the word, crime thriller set in, it's like the bio area, Florida's Blue Bay, it says. Basically, these two girls accuse this school counsellor of a hideous crime that he swears he didn't commit, and the story kind of goes from there, and there's a lot of twists and turns. Really enjoyable crime thriller. Yeah, I'm glad that Arrow really gave this the treatment that it deserved. That is Wild Things. Just going to go for a quick break and I shall be back. Next up we have another Arrow sale pickup, Time Bandit. Now, I love Monty Python, and this is basically a non-Monty Python film. It's produced and directed by Terry Gilliam. I think Michael Palin and Terry Gilliam wrote it. Michael Palin's in it. John Cleese shows up in it. You got Jim Broadbent, who's got a very small role in it. Sean Connery. Ian Holm. Shelley Duvall. Ralph Richardson. David Warner. Just a great cast. And it's about this group of time bandits. Who they're half a dozen fractious dwarfs, is how they are described, who kind of stumble across this young boy. They enter his bedroom at night through the wardrobe and getting caught up in this time travelling sort of adventure where they got this map that they're basically just following, and they're basically just going through history, stealing stuff. And they've got good, the forces of good, it says, and is he called the High something? Can't think of it. Played by Ralph Richardson, who's kind of, they think he's basically after them. And then you got Evil, played by David Warner, who's always brilliant. That's very Monty Python, got a lot of Monty Python comedy in it. I did like the John Cleese Robin Hood bit, that was quite funny. With all the poor people then distributing all of the stuff they'd stolen to the poor people. Very Odd Fellows, I think he says, or something like that. And you got Ian Holm as Napoleon, he's really funny. Sean Connery plays, is it Agamemnon? Who's like he was a Greek warrior. He has a really good they're all small roles for the most part, because they're obviously dipping in and out of time periods. But it's a lot of fun. It's a fun film, I'd say. If you like your Monty Python's type stuff, give it a go if you've not seen it. It's not going to be for everyone. That's for certain, I would say. But I personally thought it was a lot of fun, and I'll be going back to it again for sure. That's Time Bandits. Next up we have Jeff Who Lives at Home, which is a little indie comedy from 2011. As you can see, it stars Jason Segel, Ed Helms, and Susan Sarandon. You've also got Judy Greer in there as well. And also Ray Dawn Chong, who you probably know the best from being in Commando with Arnie in the 80s. She's got a small role in this as well. Follows Jeff, played by Jason Segel, who's what you would call a slacker. He still lives at home with his mum. He doesn't have a job. He just kind of lounges around. He just does his own thing, doesn't really do much. You've got his brother, played by Ed Helms, who is married to Judy Greer's character, but he's a bit, he likes spending money. He spends his money on this new Porsche without asking his wife, who then proceeds to basically chuck him out. And it's kind of like him, over like a course of a day or so, I would say, kind of bonding with his brother. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They kind of think that his wife's having an affair, so they're kind of like following her throughout the day as well, finding out what's going on there. And then you got a subplot with Susan Sarandon's character. She's at work and she's been given this like these like sort of love messages like from a secret admirer. She's trying to work out who they're from. So you got that subplot, and then it kind of all converges together at the end. And yeah, it was a nice little watch. I like these sorts of films. These are my sort of films, like indie comedy dramas set in like not so much a small town, but it's hard to explain, but they've got this certain feeling to them that I really appreciate. Sort of like everyday sort of people, I suppose. But I do really like these sorts of films, and I did really enjoy this one. This is the Australian release, but I got it for a few quid on eBay. There was quite a few copies going, so always worth checking out if you're interested to watch it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Short film as well, just under an hour and a half. And yeah, just an easy watch. So yeah, really enjoyed that one. Jeff Who Lives at Home. Then next up we have The Commitments, which is an Alan Parker film from 1991. All about this young man who starts this group, this band, I suppose, called The Commitments in Dublin, because he wants to try and make the first big Irish soul band. And they are very successful to start with. It's about the characters and their lives and that sort of thing. It's quite funny as well. It's another one, unfortunately, I wasn't fully paying attention all the way throughout, and I kind of wish I was, because I caught bits of it. Sometimes I'm just not in the right mood to watch certain films, and I get distracted by my phone, and I kind of come back into the film and I'm not fully aware of what's going on, which is a shame. It's just sometimes it just can't be helped. I think I am gonna start, when I put a film on, putting it somewhere where I can't get to it, my phone. That way I'm very, very much less likely to get distracted. But yeah, like I said, the music in this was great. What I saw of it was really good, and it's another one definitely be watching again in the future. So yeah, that's The Commitments. And then last but by no means least, one that I think I kind of kick-started, and it's been doing the rounds since. I think Roy's picked it up, I think Stuart's picked it up as well. I don't know if anyone else has. But I thought I'd be the first to kind of give it a go, watch it. Well, saying that, I don't know if Roy's watched it. He may have it in his weekly watches as well. I'm not sure if he got around to it yet. But it's a film called The Statement, starring Michael Caine, directed by Norman Jewison in what would be his final film, and written by Ronald Harwood. Is it Harwood, who wrote The Pianist, which I think was the year before. This basically follows, basically during the Second World War, there were obviously the Nazis, but there were also what they call the Vichy, who were French soldiers who basically, I suppose, worked for the Nazis to identify these French Jews and execute them, basically. And Michael Caine plays one of these, who is flash forwards. You see the start, his character and what he does, and how despicable the crimes he does were. Then it flash forwards to the early 90s. He's now an elderly man, kind of living out his life in France, kind of not got any problems. And then one day something happens and he has to go on the run. He has a lot of friends within the church. He's become a very religious man, and he's got a lot of friends in the church. A lot of these war criminals have gone on to have power within government. And it's kind of about, there's the police, there's these hitmen after him, and he's on the run, trying to escape, trying to stay one step ahead of them. And it's about him on the run, I suppose. And you got Tilda Swinton in this, Jeremy Northam, Alan Bates, Charlotte Rampling, John Neville's in this as well. Frank Finlay, who you may know from the 70s Musketeers films, that's where I recognised him from. Really great cast. The only thing with this film, unfortunately, I did enjoy it for the most part, but it's quite slow. It's very much a slow burn. Michael Caine's brilliant in it, but it is very much a slow burn. I'd be interested to hear other people's thoughts on this. I'll watch it again. Yeah, I definitely watch it again. But it's one of those, it is quite slow in quite a few places throughout the film. Kieran Hines in this as well, I completely forgot to mention. But yeah, like I said, I would watch it again. It was interesting. It's great to see Michael Caine kind of take on a bad guy role. And yeah, it was good for what it was. So yeah, that is the statement. That is everything that I've watched this week. There'll be I'm still gonna, again, like I've been doing the last few Sundays, I'm gonna try and get maybe 4 films watched today. I have got the cinema later in the afternoon, so that might be included in the 4 films. It might be an extra film. I'm gonna try and watch 2 this afternoon, for definite. But I think by the time I get back from the cinema, I'll probably only get another 1 in. So yeah, probably 4 including the film I watch at the cinema today. So another 3 to talk about for next week's episode. But let me know if you've seen any of those down below in the comment section below and your thoughts on them. Yeah, always interested to hear different people's opinions on different films, because everyone always generally tends to have different opinions on films, which I always love reading. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As you know, I always take the time to get back to anyone that leaves me a comment, because I really do appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.